Hey you guys, this is Psychopoweranger once again, and I'm here to bring you the beginning of the Guild Wars 2 videos. Today I'm going to be talking about PvP, one of my... not talking about PvP. Today I'm going to be talking about PvE. This is going to be one of 4 installations, and I'm going to be talking about how the mechanics and the new things for the game are going to be affecting your new lifestyle as an MMO. Here we go. Okay, here's a few key points that I'm going to be talking about in my videos. Firstly, what's most important to me is the flat leveling curve. What's so amazing about this? Minimal grind. Every level from level 1 to level 80 will be the same. Well, not exactly. Level 1 through 10 will move faster than the rest, but after that, it will just keep moving up. It's gonna be amazing. There's the open world, so no longer will you have to be sectioned away from people when you're playing by yourself. Also, everyone gets resources. So, say for instance, you want to go out and mine. You see a rock and someone comes up and takes it from you. What do? You relax. Why? Because you can also get that rock. No longer do you need to fight over resources in the world. There's fast travel. I can't tell you how much I love fast travel. It's like when it came to other games where you had to mount up and fly to places, it just took so much time. So what would I do? I would get up and like make some food or something, and I wasn't even hungry. It was just bad. It was just bad. So I'm so glad about fast travel, though I know that there's some people out there who are kind of upset. There's dynamic events. Dynamic events are changing everything. It's going to make it so that the community comes closer together. No longer will you just quest on your own when you can easily just quest with somebody else. I believe that this is going to be an amazing system. There's going to be lush surroundings. Everything is going to be beautiful in this game. Everything is hand designed to look amazing. The developers in here really decided that they wanted to make this their own. There's also in-depth environmental design, meaning moving destroyable objects. That means they had to hire somebody to make things in the game their own object. That's how dedicated they are to this game. They're making grass be their own object so that it can move around. I love that. There's unusual weapons. Warriors can use bows effectively. That's just crazy how that can even be. The fact that a necromancer can use an axe effectively, that's also really weird to me. It's really awesome what they're doing here. No longer do you just use a bow to pull. There is no trinity. Now, however, I believe that there's going to be a side trinity where it's kind of people still take things and use them in their own way, but there won't be a hardcore healer, tank, etc. There will just be kind of like makeshift ones, if you know what I'm saying. Downstate is sweet. I don't know what possessed them to put downstate in the game, but I'm glad they did. Because no longer, if you die, will you have to sit and watch the whole fight and hope that it goes over well. You can be re-revived and get back into the action. There's going to be 100-man boss fights. That is insane. 100-man? Like fighting the Shatterer? That is crazy. The dragons in this game are huge, and as I've heard, the Shatterer is only a medium-sized dragon. I can't wait. Stunning armor layouts. Every piece of armor that I've seen in this game that's endgame loot is beautifully made. All of it looks so stunning, my friend. It's so great. And on top of that, there's 3-color armor scaling. So you can dye every piece of armor at least 3 times. Some maybe even 4 I've seen. It's just... the ability to change yourself around is amazing. Also, add in transmogrifiers, and you can take any type of armor you want and mix and match it with anything you want and have the stats you want. That is beautiful. Do you see that dragon right there? That dragon is the Shatterer. And like I said, it is only a medium-sized dragon and a 100-man boss fight. I don't even know what to say about this dragon. It's so big. I can't even believe the size of some of these other dragons if this is the case. This game is going to be epic. And the video just ends. Man, my transitioning is terrible. But that's not the point. Let's get back to what we need to get going. First, I'd like to talk about dynamic events. Dynamic events, as most of you know, is what the questing system in Guild Wars 2 is. What you might not know is all the different forms of this advanced system. There are 5 different types of events so far, and there's a 6th one on the way. These are protect an NPC, win the objective by force, gather something, hold a spot, defeat a boss. Most dynamic events scale for 10 people, however, there's some huge boss fights that can be up to 100 man. I only assume that most of them are boss fights. Another thing to note is that dynamic events never drop loot. Why is this, you ask? Not having that gear drop will take away that whole feeling of, I have to do this certain dynamic event to get this certain item. It will make it so that all dynamic events, in a sense, are equal, though there'll be ones that are more fun and that you'll probably do more often just because you enjoy them. Instead, you're rewarded with experience, coin, and karma. A thing to note about karma is, it's a non-tradable resource that can be used to advance your personal story or buy items from NPCs. But it is also noted that if you buy things from NPCs using karma, it's most likely that you can also buy that item with coin. Another thing to note is that the reward system in this game is rated through the ranks of bronze, silver, and gold, depending on how high your rank was during the fight. So say I did a medium amount of work, then I'd get ranked silver and get a silver amount of coin karma experience. Dynamic events also have an effect on dungeons. Let me give a fake example of this. So Caravan has been giving resources to a dungeon for some time now. An NPC has asked us to stop this said caravan. With the caravan stopped, no longer is it providing resources for this dungeon. So, while we're fighting this dungeon, the NPCs no longer have guns, but just swords, because we took away some of their abilities. This is pretty cool to me because I really like the meshing of quests to dungeons. Now, since we're on the topic of dungeons, here's a little bit more about that. There will be 8 dungeons upon release. Now I'm going to look down to read these because I don't have the names memorized. Ascalon Catacombs, Lord Beetlestone's Estate, Sorrow's Embrace, Caudicus Mansion, some form of an Asura Laboratory, a Maguma-themed Silvari, and an Orion dungeon where Zayton reside. The last one hasn't been mentioned, so I'm not entirely sure. These dungeons start from level 35 all the way up to level 80, and will be in about 10 level increments for the most part. Obviously 10 times 8 equals 80 from level 1, but close enough. Alright, there's 2 different types of dungeons. Story mode, explorer mode. Story mode is a largely linear story. It is easily done with other players you don't know, and it explains the story of Destiny's Edge and their struggle with the Elder Dragons. Explorer mode, on the other hand, is a much more difficult version. It is unlocked after you complete story mode, and it is a 5-man group. All dungeons in this are 5 men. It will require more thought on how to complete the dungeons, and more on what the dungeon monsters can really do. It is also to be noted that at the end of completing a dungeon, you don't get armor and weapons. Instead, you get tokens. I really like this idea because that way you aren't stressed with always getting the legs over and over as you keep defeating a boss. As most people know, everybody gets one of these tokens at the end of the fight. By completing story mode, you get story mode tokens, which are turned in for dungeon weapons, and completing explorer mode will give you explorer mode tokens, which are used for getting dungeon armors. Sadly to say, for all you hardcore gamers out there, the armor that you get from this won't be any better than armor you could obtain anywhere else. What's really cool is this can also be done with any character composition. They even playtested it with 5 of the same of each class, and they're able to complete it. Another thing to note is that there are waypoints throughout the entire dungeon, so if your team fumbles and everybody dies, then you can just go ahead and waypoint yourself back to a point close enough to where your area was, instead of having to run through the whole dungeon. Also, monsters don't respawn in this. I don't even think there'll be patrols. We'll see what that happens when more information is released. And on a final note, there's 8 dungeons, but there's going to be at least 32 different experiences for each one. This is done with a decision system. The team will at first decide which pathway they're going to take, and there'll be 3 pathways. Add dynamic events, and there might even be more different ways that you can play this dungeon system, meaning the replay value of dungeon systems might be really good for a while. Alright, you guys, be sure to rate, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you did enjoy this video. And if you didn't, well then, do whatever you want. Peace, you guys.